Hey guys. How are you all doing? Hey guy.com. What is up? Hey, 12 hours. I'm gonna give people a few minutes to join. We ended last stream because I was exhausted right before the trial. I believe pretty much as soon as this conversation's done, we're going right to it. Doing alright. I'm still a little tired, but should be able to make it through today at least. I don't know if I'll be able to finish the whole trial, considering they seem to be several hours in this game, but we'll do our best. Is there no audio? Oh, it would help if my headphones were actually plugged in, then I could hear the audio. Yeah, there we go. Alright. This guy's wife, real pissed because he's like supposed to have another significant other, something on the side, or supposedly, according to her anyway, he is claiming that he does not. And then she slapped the shit out of him. That's why he's got to face this way, so you can't see the giant slap on her face. What an abusive relationship. She doesn't even take his word for anything. She's spilling hot tea over him all the time, slapping him across the face. I mean, he's just having a rough go of it. Carpet got completely destroyed because in her little fit of rage that she's still on right now, she dropped a lit candle on the carpet. She's just got everything going on right now. Hey gamer, what is that? Paint a torrid picture, one that would have been most entertaining. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, the Bali finisher started going up as well. What does Bali mean? They keep saying that, but I don't know exactly what they're trying to say with it. Bali. Designer shoes. British slang for bloody. Isn't bloody already slang? We've had to hide the mess behind the screen for the time being. Or here. We have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Oh, my favorite books! As soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. I'm actually surprised this didn't just light the whole fucking place up. Then the wife started hurling things at me. While the place was on fire? Good lord. Usually that calms people. I was back against the window under heavy enemy fire. Incendiary books coming in 10 to the dozen. Hey JP at 5. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride. Your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you the title didn't influence my choice. The poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the beast's rampage. Mr. Sholm's deductions turned out to be correct once again. Correct is a little bit of a stretch, I think. as per usual. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was total carnage, flames everywhere, and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? 2 days ago now, around 5 o'clock. So exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside. So is this like half the crimes in this game are gonna basically be like they were actually doing something else at the scene at the time of the crime, so they couldn't have been a witness? Even more terrifying inside, I can assure you. The whole Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes. Yeah, what can I do for you? Hey, Neku. I think we've gotten to the bottom of the situation here now, but what does it have to do with Natsume's circumstances? That they couldn't have seen the crime? Can't help you there, I'm afraid. My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I cannot be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. Knew you were gonna say that. Now, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of two categories, relevant to the case, and those not. That makes no sense. Well, no matter. It's of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. If we're to accept his case, we have the official paperwork to attend to. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell. I must prepare supper. Yes, sorry. Thank you very much for your time. Hey, Abstain. Gonna have to give him an answer. Why are we playing that like we might not actually help this dude? We must hurry back to prison. Helicare. Oh, what's the matter? Looks like something's going on over there in front of the house. It's a jester. I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Who you call an old man, you rum-looking immy-pimmy? Okay. There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Who's this Horatio fella? What are you on about? Excuse me, what? Who are you? I'm sorry, it just looks as though there might be some problems here. And my associate here is a lawyer, you see. Eh? A lawyer? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I've studied English law. I like in this game they always tend to just drop that he's a lawyer all the time as if that would actually be helpful to the average person. Like if you're not in court, the lawyer's not really helping you that much. I'll be on my way for today. But mark my words. This ain't over yet. Get thee to a nunnery. Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? What's a nunnery? I just assume that's a church. Nunnery. It's where nuns live. Eh, well, right. Makes sense. I hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you. What was that about? There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, but are you a lodger? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. You mentioned he had another lodger. This must be the guy. You happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Yes, a gentleman named Natsume? More worthy a polemist in my battle of words ne'er could there be. Sorry. Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. Sounds like they were lovers. I don't understand, but it seems Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, I can tarry here no longer. Farewell. Didn't really understand him, but I think he returned to his room. He seems he's unaware of what's happened to Natsume, so he can't really help us. He certainly has a house full of eccentrics. Anyway, let's go find a carriage. I'm sure Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. You're here, you came. I can't believe you came back, I'm so touched. We're so sorry to have kept you waiting. Think nothing of it, relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Let's not get carried away. I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand, it's through friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates this fact. Such is my belief. It's you. The miserable, rotten spy. Sherlock Holmes. Why does he just show up here? What's he here for? I have no intention of doing anything per se, save observing, of course. What do you mean, Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in the gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of the secret pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it's superior here. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny. How dare you? I've had it, I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. If this guy just sat inside his apartment and just read books all day, without even like going outside, surely he could kind of do that from prison, right? I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits and the lodgings, no doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial. My whole life is bedamned. What are you thinking, Ryu? He mentioned that once before, didn't he, that his lodgings were cursed? There is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. So what's up with your place? When you said accursed lodgings, you were referring to your room? Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain, but I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. It didn't take long. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time from dawn till dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear didn't go away. You must have been very lonely having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I've had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road. Why does he keep having to move? Why'd you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent's cheap and I have little money. It appealed to me. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simply said, "The room's cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it, but if not, don't mention it in the first place." Well said. But it was true. It was all true. You mean the room really is cursed, then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. In my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. Hey, what's up, Calumet? I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one? To believe. Let's tell me while the trial is cursed first. Hang on. Wait. Why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away. I didn't mean anything by it. Yeah, dude, it's really fucking hot out, Calumet. I've been sweating my ass off lately. You don't mean the trial is cursed, do you? You referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me. Summarize it succinctly, in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Oh my goodness, can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly. Yesterday, Ryu successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. I'm impressed, Susato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zykes killed the man? He couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Of course. Of course he is, then why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean? Van Zykes is an exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. That's good. Soseki looks like he's gonna cry tears of joy. As you're no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both judge and jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It's an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is observed from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Criminals, and corrupt lawyers for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhanded means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury, which means that even the light of irrefutable evidence the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, from time to time, my dear madame, that's simply the reality. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zykes cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Through the education may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom. Within months, they all disappear. It is most striking. So I wonder if, like, the latter case parts of the game is going to end up with Ryu and Sholmes investigating Van Zykes. Perhaps they were trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drowned. Perhaps they suddenly are overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid. I knew it, I'm... dead, dodo, done for, doomed. Well, what can you do? You had a good run. Mr. Sholmes. Me? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case, if you recall. The Buria. Ah, that case. The one with the snake. Well, yes. At the time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. You helped us investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is why. Why did you believe in me? I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? Like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple. You said I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you've misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor that which you were telling me. Huh? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean? That's not exactly ideal. I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It's a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. He's right. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. That comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You're right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it's time we leave. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There's a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there is never enough time, is there? Natsume, if you'd like in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday, and although the man I was representing was not found guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe? But I think I've finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, and to trust my instincts. My instincts are telling me that you, Natsume, are innocent of this crime. It's imperative we prove that. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available. I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course. It'd be fair to say, Ryu, that your mind was in many ways made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. I think you're right. It's been a roundabout journey, but we got there in the end. The Ace Attorney series really likes to use the term, like, roundabout and stuff, right? They're pretty big on that. Will you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me? Absolutely. As I said, you may consider me your personal assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily, but it's time to stop looking backwards. Cosmo believed in me, and Sholmes believes in me now too, so it's time. But I learned to believe in myself. Sozeki has no one. He's all alone, so it's my job to help him and fight in his corner. Tomorrow in the courtroom... Something. Man, did the notification go out for today's stream or what? Brutal. Well, never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We're on a study tour of Great Britain, with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we have needed as much court experience as possible. You didn't get one, Neku? Yeah, they definitely didn't go out then. Did anyone else get one? For the person in the dock, it may as well be his or her one and only time in court. It could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem crass. When you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning. Natsume, good morning. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. Oh god, yeah, they are. They even updated his character model for that. That's disturbing. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. I've heard that. I don't really want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted. Do all literary people take things so literally? Yeah. Hey, Astris. Thanks for putting your faith in us today. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble, but you're trembling. Really? Because I feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, Ryu, I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here. Neither did I. Do you know why that might be, Suzato? I'm sorry, I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence? Don't hide the truth. It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Zykes? Is that right, Suzato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, he's on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Inspector Gredson told us something similar, didn't he? Two days ago marked his return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus. What a harrowing experience. I believe that appearance was made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon, for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they're all speculating various answers. Mundane? It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us. I meant no offense, Natsume. But that's how the papers are describing it. Well... Sometimes the game just, like, skips a dialogue line, even if we only press enter, like, once. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. True. Obviously, the reappearance of the Reaper is what's catching people's attention, but there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. I agree, Ryu. It's you. Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it's you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper. Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another bad example, Ryu, of your uncommonly bad luck. Hey, I feel that, Ryu. We live in that same path. Thanks for that. This is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive. Well, let's not forget that it was you, Natsume, who asked me to represent you. It's true that I'm just a student new to London, with little in the ways of experience or skills or luck. But I promise you this, I will fight in your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you. Oh, benevolent Ryu. You're not alone here with Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we'll always be on your side. Until the irrefutable evidence pops up. Oh, benevolent... Zato. I'm in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way to the courtroom. Alright then, it's time. Let's go. Yes. Alright. I will be back in about 3-4 minutes. Let's use the restroom. I will pause just before the trial. I return. Hey, Skyle. Welcome to the stream. This is it. It's the moment of truth. Damn, people left as soon as I came back. I'm sorry. I know Chair is an excellent host. I didn't mean to do him like that. My second appearance in a British courtroom. Cheese and nuts day? Is this like the day the meme was first uploaded or something? My second trial against the Reaper. Hope you're watching over me, Cosmo, because this time I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last, just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. Alright. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are truly a fascinating breed. What? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago, a mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you felt compelled to try and help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. After all, at a previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. Very true. And a most fascinating, if dark trial it was, too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted, and his unfortunate violent end. Wow. Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I do believe in fair play for everyone. Why does this say juror number one, like we don't know who this guy is? Although, funny enough, he says his name. I do believe in fair play for everyone. Oh, she's cute. I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. That looks like the Hatter guy as well, just with a different outfit. I'm afraid to say I think it's quite possible that mustached foreigner did the deed. She hasn't even heard anything. Also, how could she be on the jury? She's not an impartial impartial. She knows the guy. She saw it happen. She's a witness. What? What are we waiting for? No doubt he did it. Eh? Sorry? Didn't catch that. Very well, let's proceed. Your opening statement, if you please. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with the rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from the same land, a certain Soseki Natsume. While our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. And knife crime? I can tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are. Just look at the shallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese. Let's get it over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Huh? Jesus. They've, stacked the jury against us, that's for sure. Forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollowed chalice here in this great chamber. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in. Can't wait to hear his chip-eating noise. Name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please surmise the events of the case for the court? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon? Inspector? Thought to be? Yes. Having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. So they don't even know who she is for sure? Well, if she died, it's not like they could have asked her either. They should have, like, done something to figure out who it was. Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger? Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. If I could ask everyone to look at the street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road in a wide thoroughfare of horse-drawn carriages, whatever. So is this symbol supposed to be her? I'm not gonna lie, this actually looks like a dude. I bet you that's gonna be the twist. It had not been long since it stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the hospitals. What does gender have to do with the case? I'm not sure, but I feel like it will be relevant somehow. When they make one of the 19 twists and turns that'll happen during the trial, I feel like they'll be like, but actually it was a man. And we can prove that based on the angle, Soseki would have never stabbed a man. I don't know. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents. If you please. The case file has been entered into the court record. What of the weapon that was used? Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. She looked like the fortune teller from Skyward Sword. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scraggy-looking Soseki, I suppose. A common or garden jackknife, I would say, rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. What do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume? From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much to be worth pinching, my lord. I see, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting secondhand bookshops, the defendant, Natsume, doesn't appear to go out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
If the theft and grievance had been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? The man, in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery, but your words have soured its hallowed banquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. He really likes the learned friend phrase. Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary would come to arrest the Nipponese student. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor, those being a number of old books he'd just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him. Old books, you say? Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident. I can clearly see the books to which you're referring. Yes, that's the important part. Thank you. I will take the photograph as evidence. Oh, Lord. You Nipponese are a cowardless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. I'm impressed that they actually committed to the, very realistic, racial tensions, what would have been between Britain and, any, Asian country of the time. Because instead of referring to them as, a people or group, Van Sykes just keeps going, you breed, like they're animals or something. That's a little edgy. I wouldn't have expected them to, commit that hard. Forgive me, Lord Van Sykes, but the defendant is not denying everything, as you put it. What are you doing? Go on. Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right? Now you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what happened. As I was walking along the pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat, and as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a scream and collapsed onto the cold hard slab of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to the accursed lodgings. A green overcoat? Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing. Photographic print in full color. What will the world think of next? The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. What about all the witnesses you're saying you have? In other words, there's nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. Fact that the accused concedes. It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal. Proceed, please. Yes, my lord. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables. It's our only chance. 5 o'clock in the noon when the incident occurred. There was a light fog. Objection! A light fog, you say? Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much farther, though. That's light? Around these parts, yeah. Not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course. I've read that London is famous for fog. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. How quaint. Well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize. I expect you can appreciate. I see. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm. I feel like before the dawn of cars, fog wouldn't really be that big a deal. Like, I mean, I guess you could have a horse-drawn carriage accident, but I feel like the devastation from one of those couldn't be that severe. Not like horses are going down the street at 50 miles an hour. That if you walk into somebody during the fog, oh no. But obviously car accidents from fog are a big deal, but I can't really think of how intrusive fog would have been back before vehicles. The knife could have been thrown? They said it was a big knife. So I don't know if it would have been like a thrown dagger. That would have been weird. The other day, I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling. Suzato and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else but the victim.
Hold it!
How are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, because that is what the witness to this crime have told us. But then there's what? Then there were people there. Like, this is so contradictory, but it feels like I'm the only one acknowledging that. That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard. Oh yeah, that's who I thought was super detrimental to the case. That's correct, ma'am. Then we must hear their testimony. The prosecution will of course call them to the stand, should it be necessary. Wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights. The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Quite. Here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered darkness. Which means we really need to hear those witness statements. If I could get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with the testimony, Inspector. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and collapsed.
Hold it!
From behind, you say? Why is that what we're questioning here? We have the photograph. What? As you can see from this print. Quite so. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. As you say, this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in critical condition, comatose no less? I'm afraid so, my lord. She's been treated at Bart's. I was hopeful that she'd come round before the trial so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. It is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of the events. But if she was stabbed from behind, she'd have no idea who did it. Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. Oh, that took me a second. I thought it was referring to, like how Ryu always seems to have that, like, expression, but I think that was actually a, racial jab there. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor.
Hold it!
Natsume's belongings? I think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print. I thought those were her books. The 3 books on the floor. That's right. Second-hand books they were, irreparably damaged after falling in the snow. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means the other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. He's very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with the books. He's managed to close on one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there. You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord, yes. Well, this being a lover of old books he'd just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems.
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. So I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. Let's skip that line. The bloke's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, Inspector? Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused's lodgings is this place, Bourbon Books. A little place on the street corner of Briar Road and Mearsham Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken. Why would he do that? When he just go, dude. I concur with your conclusion. The defendant would have certainly passed the scene of the crime on his way home. Ryu, I think what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance. I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being the crucial detail in what you've just told the court, Inspector, is the location of the bookshop. I couldn't agree more. So where is it exactly? Huh? Are you winding me up, Sunshine? I just explained it. I got out the map and everything, used some red bloomin' ink, and drew the bloke's route home for you. I distinctly remember seeing you not alone. Of course. The blunder of the day goes to you, my friend. Not yet. The trial's only just begun. For you. I would strongly advise you look carefully through the court record at this stage. Sorry, miss. At once, miss. Sorry I made a mistake, miss. Inspector, continue with the testimony. Let me check the court record. What am I missing here? Do we have the receipt? Your books. Ah. Okay. How can I... What would be the good way to present this? Oh, maybe I go back to the previous one and then say... Say the name is important, right? Again, I wish you could kind of skip dialogue that's already been repeated. Like, again, like, think back to the Zero Escape remakes, or remasters, that I feel like were handled much better. Not only did the Zero Escape games get dialogue, but there was an option to fast forward through every dialogue line you had already heard. The defendant certainly would have passed the scene of the crime, yeah. Inspector, may I ask you a favor? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance. Maybe? Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes. It could be a very important clue. Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony. Damn it, I hate when games do this, when I think I'm clever for having figured something out. But then they just lay on real thick that that's, like, supposed to be what you're supposed to do. Like, I thought it was kind of clever that I pieced that together. Obviously, Susato, like, hinted to it. So, but I still got it, so I was like, oh, okay, great. But then Rio, the judge, and Gregson were all like, I wonder if this is important. Yes, it could be important. Yes, very important, the name of the place. Please consider the name of the place. And now I'm like, well, the game was certainly not going to let me not figure that out. Which is weird, because there's so many things that are, like, actually genuinely harder than that the game's just like, huh? Clues? Hints? You don't need those.
Objection!
If I could stop you there, Inspector. What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know? Why do they keep calling him Sunshine? Oh, right, because he's from the land of the rising sun. So is that why they keep calling him Sunshine? This is a receipt we found in Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident, details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. And you found that in his room? Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume? Yes, so Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand shop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. Eh? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop? Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand shop not far. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection!
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited the day in question. And this proves it. What's Gregson holding? He's holding a spot of the old fish and chips, my boy. Spot of the old fish and chips.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. I disagree. I mean, after all, I have the street map here, if that might have helped. Yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, your books, it may very well turn out he wouldn't have passed the location at all. Would that be true? It rather depends on where the other bookshop is, but I do declare it might be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, what you just said? Absolutely. It could absolutely be right. Inspector, where is this Your Books establishment? Well, obviously we looked into that. Turns out that Your Books is here, on the next corner. And there you have it, as you can clearly see. Oh. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown, the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus. You put that glass down, or I'll put it down for you. I didn't think I'd need to spell it out, but here we go. The accused was coming home from Your Books instead. Why would he go this way, though? That's extra time. He should go down. Well, I guess he wouldn't. It would actually be a roundabout path, right? Van Sykes brought out the clown emojis. He said, "You a clown." Van Sykes invented the "you a clown." Thank you, Inspector. Allow me to reiterate from my learned, if somewhat slow, friend. Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference. What is that from again? You're not a clown, but the entire circus? Is that from Ace Attorney? Or is that an edit? Oh, it is just an edit. Damn it! It is an Ace Attorney meme, but it's just an edit. Unfortunate. As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. What'd I say? I've had enough of this. Beg your pardon, terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that? We mustn't give up. What do you mean? The prosecution's assertion's correct. The members of the jury may very well decide that Natsume is guilty. He's right. We must think. We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution. They claim Soseki must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from Your Books, but... I feel like we leave it because we risk throwing the jury in the other direction if I raise an objection and we press on this point, because everyone seems pretty determined that we're all just going back, we're gonna go back and argue about this, so I feel like it's best to just let it drop. And especially because last trial, it was so easy to just, every time something like this came up, you just always went through with it. You always pressed for more details. I'm gonna just leave this one alone. I think I better leave it alone for now. We can't give up here. I realize that, but sometimes the best way to fight is to do nothing, you know? You're right. What am I talking about?
Objection!
Oh. Okay, I guess not. Never mind, we're fighting it. Objection! The assertion made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed. First, we must deal with the inexcusable tardiness of your objection. What? It's not like there's a time limit. I don't know what's worse, the court penalty or the piercing stare. Explain yourself. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. Alright, never mind, I'm gonna reload this. Give me that extra health point back. Let's just object. Oh, but he doesn't say objection if you don't wait. Ryu, what are you doing? Hang on, I must grab a cheese stick. I require sustenance. No, not share stream. We're good. I just needed cheese. Explain yourself, counsel. Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on the map. When returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. Boom. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way around. Ah. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is it's extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is obviously the perpetrator of this crime. Objection! But yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such a questioning. Claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. My day's no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. What? How convenient. I don't believe this. I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around the subject. Pray, what say you, insightful jurors? Oh, fuck. He's getting the jurors involved. But even if that's the case, the defense still... See, I knew I should have just held off on the fucking bringing that up. God damn it, Susato. I agree with Van Zykes, wholeheartedly and in every way. Does this mean... We members of the jury are completely convinced. Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
Part I hate.
Guilty.
I didn't hate the, like, pinning the jurors against each other. I thought that was cool. Unless there's about to be something annoying here. Hey, what's up, Matt? It would appear the jury's, leaning is unanimous. I am a random child, is that true? To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve the Queen and country admirably. This is kinda not good. Wait, what's not good? Oh, wait, those lines were voiced? I'm sorry, I didn't have my headphones in. Yeah, that does annoy the shit out of me. Why were those lines voiced? Just for the, Oh, were they voiced just for the trial? Or the trailer? Oh, I had my headphones off. Damn it. That would annoy the shit out of me. You were right. You know me so well. They were absolutely just voiced for the trailer then, I bet, weren't they? Because I really do feel that... I said this last stream, and I'll repeat it this stream. I feel like a lot of this game was a bait and switch. Because they really advertised how much this was an English dub of the game. Not just like the subtitles were changed. And there has never been like any voiced dialogue in any point of the game besides like the cutscenes that have like 2 lines of dialogue as it stands. I really do feel strongly like bait and switched on the game. Relate the save? Yeah. Let's do that. I just want to hear them real quick. The game is good, and I'm fine with it because I didn't play the original. So, like, it still feels like I'm buying it for the first time, but I feel like if I had played the original, this remake would really bug me. Especially because I don't believe the animations were changed at all, were they? Like, these animations were all done on the 3DS.
Objection!
The voice lines are DLC. Don't give Capcom any ideas.
Objection.
We're almost there. Okay, let's hear it.
Guilty!
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That is really fucking annoying. They have voice actors. Why just give them one line? What? Were the jurors... No, the jurors saying guilty wasn't voiced in the last trial. At least I don't remember it. That's bizarre. Ryu. See, Susato, what did I say? I said we shouldn't raise an objection. And what'd you do? You pressured me into saying an objection. Not yet. It's not over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of the scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of Quarry, not yet willing to give up and die. That's not true. That face looks like a man very willing to give up and die. The face Rio was making was a man who has already accepted death. He was ready to call it quits. I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial? Rights of the defense written into the antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Very well. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with the summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready? Of course. I'm all too familiar with that Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncas refusal to throw in his alley. Am I saying this right? Nipponese? Nippon? Nippon? Can we not just say Japanese? Very well then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. The jurors' contentions. For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he? He said that if he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why can it have only have been the victim? The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in the winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful. I really don't care. Can we wrap this up? I've got work to do. Your books. Yes, nice shop. But bourbon? No, not worth a visit. What? That's why you find him guilty? With only minor exceptions, the reason for finding the defendant guilty are clear. When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes. Furthermore, we've heard from the witnesses that he fled. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already. Oh dear. Even the judge appears convinced of his guilt. Why do you have to run away? How are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody can see? It's impossible. How can I make a case for the defense? Ryu, this is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue, I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their mind. Well, 4 of them. We have no choice but to forge forward. You have the floor, counsel. Begin your examination. Yes. I just need to keep this trial going, whatever it takes. Come on, Ryu. You can do it. I just realized the investigator just chilling in the background there. He lurking in the scene. Alright, I'm not really too sure which of these jurors contradict each other, to be honest, right now. He already admitted it. He said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes. It can only have been the victim. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back, not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind. I don't care. Nice shop. Oh, I have to press. Oh, yeah, that's right. I totally forgot. Thank you, Neku, that I can press the trial. Or the, jury. This sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of his guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are subjective. I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate. That's something. We must use that to our advantage, cunningly. You're right. I totally forgot I could press the buttons. Excuse me, but aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was the witness stand just 2 days ago. I had a feeling I knew your face, or the side of it anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. Sorry. Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter pegged as criminals. Well, you know, water under the bridge. Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop. If I could turn back the clock... Anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear. And free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Yeah, he's gonna be hard to turn. Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I might struggle to change this man's opinion, given our awkward history. Oh dear, I wonder what's become of the hatter.
Hold it!
You're right at the time of the incident. The defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him. Right, that's precisely my point. Clearly, that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly, that funny little Nipponese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit. Well, let's not forget, madame, the defendant vehemently denies attacking. Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life's over. The man's obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you not think he would have concocted something more credible? Oh, I really couldn't say. After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little heads? I can tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it. I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself had stated that there was no one else around. Surely it's obvious. No one else could have possibly committed the crime. Ugh. If no one else could have done it, the accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple. Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit. Oh, you're too kind, my lord. That went well.
Hold it!
But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from the Your books. Yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? That's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, he'd want to get home as quick as possible. Oh yes, why is this all true? But really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I haven't given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. Shit, juror number 3 is actually like a reasonable man. Fuck! I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone through Calabash Road way, it'd be different. I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. Reason why he might have taken the longer way home. A good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without one. So the poor woman was attacked from behind.
Hold it!
You don't know that! Whatever's the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garadeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Natsume's his room? The master's wife? Where'd you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand? He's keeping up the charade? This is gonna be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean. Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, the defendant takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? That's right, although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character? Does he look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? Oh my goodness, yes. He's just the sort. What? Spending all of his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there. Oh dear. Why do people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm, nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I better be careful about inviting the maid to speak. She's said enough damning things already. I don't really care. Shut up. A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so's my family's. Ah, the likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat. Neither do the wife and kids. Well, to be fair, you usually get a payment for being on the jury. Which I imagine back in the day is probably about what a laborer is making.
Juries nowadays don't tend to make much money, but back when, before the labor union and shit, laborers probably barely made shit, so he probably is making more today.
Not to try and get some lore going on this for you, but... I see. That must be very hard. I go to the union every morning. Oh no, there is a union. To find out what needs doing. If you're late and work is taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk. So you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened, by the old bookshop. Oh! Oh! That's right. Mersham Street it was. On the map, there are only 3 named streets. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. What's the point? Can't we just get this business over with? Please, sir, it's important. Fine, I'll do it. Alright, so now I can pit you against this gentleman.
Objection!
2 down! These 2 statements are at odds with each other. At odds, counsel, explain. Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear. I just want to get this done. Well, juror number 3. Me? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implication of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of secondhand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Mersham Street, making it impassable. Which means the defendant's route home could not have been taken along Mersham Street and down Briar Road. Well, of course. What do you think, sir? Well, yes, you can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. I suppose he must have. I suppose that must be right. Juror number 3, you said the following. The man would have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but we see now he had no choice. My lord, Mr. Judge, if I may. Yes? I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty. Yes, I'd like to see the trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. Number 3 is my man. He's reasonable. What about you, sir? Me? Well, alright. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in, that's what I say. Well done, that was wonderful. We've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It's strengthened our position somewhat. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy. Aren't you doubting or cursing the fact he was being reasonable earlier? Yes, but that was just because he was being logical against my argument. Now that he is being logical with my argument, it's fantastic. Thank you, counsel. On with the summation. Ryu was talking there about how he was glad, or he didn't want to let Van Sykes bring the trial to an early close.
Hold it!
Sorry. Fold it, you say? Fold what? What I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. With a spot of the old fish and chips on the side, eh? Boyo, old chap? You have any old fish and chips, Caliban? Eh? It's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day. Including the day you're all talking about. What? And at what time did you visit your books? Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon. Would have been just before 5 that I left. Uh-oh. That's my daily routine. Same thing every day. Including the day you're talking about. Yeah, you said that. Just before 5? Exactly when the victim was attacked? Are you sure about the time? Ooh, also weird because he's got a green coat, too. No mistake there, I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had. What do you mean? Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up. Wait a minute, let me get this straight. What happened on Calabash Road? That's right. I live in Cornpipe, you see. What? In Nebraska? Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way home. Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your statement. It may very well be significant. Huh? Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright. You've changed 2 of the jurors' minds. Just 2 more to go. Deliver the finishing blow. It's time to turn the tables. Someone say fish and chips? I did. Bloody ridiculous! Ah, this is what I shall pit you against the old man who also collapsed.
Objection!
Objection! The 2 statements show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. What are you talking about, counsel? Well, juror number 2. Juror number 6. My, whatever do you mean, sir? I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. Not like I was loud or anything. There is at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshelf receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles and returned home. The man says he has no recollection of his return. That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yeah, we're all aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed. Can we be sure of that? Whatever do you mean? I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. The same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood. Oh my. Huh?
My goodness, you mean?
That's right. I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the bench? Possibly, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. But look at that. My goodness. Sorry? You need a pee? And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in green's overcoat fell. Calabash Road. Therefore, the person whom Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6. It means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. If that's true, then clearly crime scene on Briar Road, where the woman was stabbed, was not on his way home.
You idiot old man. If you hadn't been so daft as to be rolled about there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago.
Really, what were you thinking wearing such a coat? What'd you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days? Is it a crime to slip? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat? My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but you'd like to change?
I do declare I would.
I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you. And I would too. What? Is it a crime to change your mind? Well... He looks so sweet.
So the maid and the guy who hates me were the two that didn't change their mind.
Makes sense. Well, that summation examination is concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The eyes of 2, the nose of 4. Which means the noes have it. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Yeah, get fucked, Van Sykes. What you know about the summation examination, huh? It would seem churlish of me to drink from my hollow chalice moments after raising an objection. Only to crush it in disgust? Pray, forgive the discourtesy. Lord? It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Eh? What do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed. Stalwart juror number 5 claims he was undoubtedly repairing the road. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement you extracted, sir. That's right. It took me the whole day, and they paid me a measly 2pence for it. Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me. Do you have any notion of the disturbance that 2 yards represents? Well, If I'm honest, not a clue. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor, which is not Natsume. We can assure that one full-heartedly that is not him. He is not vaulting over shit. God, my legs hurt so bad. Sorry, I did a fairly decent workout yesterday and the day before. That's why I keep having to like stand up in the middle of these streams. My legs start getting really like cramped if I'm just sitting down, especially if I'm streaming for like several hours. Gotta stretch them out a little bit. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. What? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing on the site of your works? I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have a hope of passing anyway, and we turn gentlefolk back. Kids just jump right over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings. What? That true, is it? No. The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to the lodging, Mr. Natsume walked over the thing. I don't believe that. The chair talks? The chair is carrying the stream, baby. An old man? Cold man? You can talk. You say that around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time? Oh, I can't say as if I remember. The dude can't hear shit. He wouldn't have heard anyone walking behind him. Objection! How about a wager, my friend? You say it was this old man, but I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. Order! Lord Van Sykes, explain yourself, my lord. If you had such a trench argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proliferate during the summation examination? I wanted to give the young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. Oh, I wanted to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so swayed. Ugh. Wow. But my hospitality has limits, and they've been reached, I feel. He's coming in hot! That was a pretty good burn. It's gonna be hard to recover from that one. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What are you talking about? My lord? The prosecution requests permission to call its next witness to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witness. Next witness? Rio, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. I remember. One of them being the Scotland Yard policeman. Afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. Alright. No matter who Van Sykes brings to the stand as witness, and no matter what they say, I believe Soseki-san. I know he's innocent. I'll keep believing to the very end until the battle is over. By the way, every time the judge says, like, bring forth the witness, all I can think of... Scotland Yard... What?! He looks like he's cosplaying as someone from the Scotland Yard. What the fuck? Chair has taken over the stream, yeah. But anyway, every time he says, Bailiff, bring forth the witness, all I can think of is, does anyone remember the old, that old show? Where, fuck, I forget what the show's called. But they're like, Bailiff, bring forth the dancing lobsters. That's all I can think of every time now. Chair is gaming and talking. Indeed, indeed. Hey, what's up, Kyler, by the way? Welcome, buddy. Yes, I'm voicing the chair. I just gotta stretch my legs because they're fucking cramped as shit. So I couldn't sit anymore. That's all. and I didn't want to adjust my camera like as I was stretching. But anyway, this guy is like 12. You're supposed to tell me he's a Scotland Yard member? Probably have to do that so twice more during the stream. My legs are hurting pretty bad. Constable Royal Beats. Sir? Nothing to report on the street, sir. Royal Beat? What's that supposed to be a reference to something as well? These witnesses' names are always like a pun. They have matching scarves, how cute. And I'm Miss Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife. Is he like drunk? What's happening here? What's the story here?
But in truth, we've not been married long.
In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. This being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Really? I've heard that, actually. Indeed, apart from the rare 20 days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. So here's the thing, right? Before the invention of technology to track that shit, if they had to go 20 miles a day, how was that recorded? Who monitored that? Who made sure they actually went like 20 miles? And what an arbitrary distance. And if you had to walk 20 miles, would you actually stop and like address anything, like any crime? I feel like you would just keep walking and be like, I got 10 miles left on my hike today. Sorry. Can't stop. They patrol bordering houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that meters readings are true. They're responsible for keeping streets clean and lighting and extinguishing the streetlights. Beat's probably a reference to beat, which is basically an officer's patrol area. Yeah? But, yeah, that's all I could get out of it. 20 miles? We're in Britain, though, not America. But don't they keep saying 20 miles? Yeah, 20 miles a day. We speak America here in this dub. There are a number of items on the list that don't sound like police duty. I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet, I'd have collapsed long ago. It goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. The London Bobby is a man of honor. Man of honor. My wife beats me. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct? That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly? Ah. Constable Royal Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir. Except a couple of old spot of the old fish and chips on the street, sir. Time for tea on the street, sir. What a great witness he's gonna be. Giving the old civilians the spot of chips, sir. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw in the afternoon. Yes, sir. I like to believe that Rolly here is like the beta test for the Winter Soldier. And they're just conditioning him. And he's like just sleeping all the time. Like, and then until someone says like one of the keywords for him, he like just doesn't wake up. He's like this. And then when you go, tell me what's going on in the streets, he goes, nothing on the streets, huh? Then shuts back down. Because they haven't perfected the technology yet for him to do stuff other than, like, respond to sentences. It was our wedding anniversary, and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. And the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. It was definitely the Japanese man on the dock. Rolly and I both saw him clear as day. Rolly? Rolly, do you want to say anything? This is extremely compelling testimony, I must say. Oh dear. The policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Natsume at the scene. Their testimony is true. The alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed. I mean...
They both have mustaches, jury number 6. And Natsume.
It's a death knell, in fact, because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate benchanting, and on your wedding anniversary, too. Oh, I know. But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man, and I thank the Lord for that. The life of a London bobby sounds very hard. Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean? My learned friend, the witness saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They're testifying under oath that it was without a doubt the accused. And one of those witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. But except the man's so tired and his wife has to do all the talking. Yeah, he's literally sitting there like... What? Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Will do, my lord. The witnesses saw. It was our wedding anniversary. No, it wasn't!
Hold it!
No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police? No, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women and children and the elderly can't even apply. Yeah, I was just gonna say, there's no way they let women be police officers, especially back then. How recent was it that women were actually able to be a police officer? When could women be the police?
$1972.
Originally, the position used to be called police sister for a while. Hey, police sister. How you doing, girl? I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job. I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling? Poor dude, she's gotta fucking yank his... That's why he's wearing the scarf. She's gotta, like, yank his scarf to wake him up. The collapsed travel of air down his throat wakes him up. It's his alarm clock. I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed. Is he talking in his sleep? That's creepy. Oh no. Rolly and I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you'd finished your beat for the day, correct? That's right, sir, yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. What's that now? A warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It is the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to all of us policemen of our sworn duty. I don't know what this accent is that I'm doing. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir! And for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail, and without grumble. Because I know the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear and to feel safe and secure. Except when you have no way to get to the scene of the crime for like 15-20 fucking minutes because you guys don't have cars yet.
The fighting crime doesn't appear to come in.
But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Miss Beat puts up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy. A little over the top, perhaps. And then, kindly describe what happened next. No. I refuse. Two silhouettes appeared out of the fog. Objection. Two silhouettes? That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. Sorry, I gotta stretch my legs again. There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. It does sound exactly like the victim is pictured, and like Mr. Natsume. Yes, unfortunately, it does. You're certain that at the time there was nobody else nearby? Yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there were streetlights on Briar Road. There was no one else around. Isn't that right, my darling? Why? Yes, that's right. Of course, there was a light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is dead straight, and you can see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer, please. You quite sure of what you've just said? Yes, sir. As a copper who spends all day every day on the beat, I'm sure, as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, Rolly. They're still maintaining there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. Well, it didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly. Ryu's salty. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident. What happened at the crucial moment that followed? Ah, shut up! Objection!
Hold it!
Scattered something? What do you mean by that? Well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling? Should I turn on my webcam, just expand my webcam and show you guys my stretching routine? That's right, it was old books. I see, old books. Yes, the culprit had dropped a number of them, all around where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed. Hey, Nick. The rotten Japanese man did this. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. Mustache. Oh shit, I just realized. Hang on, I just realized. That's the pun I was looking for. Nick. Ah, the couple name is Patrol, and their last name is Beat. You nailed it. Absolutely. Patrol. Patrol Beat. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, because pretty much every witness has a pun. I was struggling to see it. I got that the beat meant like it was, you know, where they were patrolling, but now that you mentioned the, Can you guys even see my face when I... Their first names combining, it all makes sense. If I ever get a girlfriend, remind me to never do this in public, it looks annoying. Yeah, PDA is really fucking annoying. I actually broke up with a girlfriend in college who, like, always was all about PDA, and it just made me super uncomfortable in like, parties and stuff. Oh, college. Alright. I was so startled by the, Nick's revelation of what their, like, the pun name was, I had to stop and, had to stop reading. Anyway, let's not forget it remains to be established the defendant was the attacker. But we saw him. It was the man in the dock without question, sir. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose, everything. Geez, any more Japanese stereotypes you want to throw in here? We're almost to the point where if, like, one of the animations was the character, like, stretching their eyes out, to, like, degrade Ryu, it wouldn't surprise me. That's how stereotypical we're getting at some points. Any more insults you want to throw? Right. He looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying and intense eyes. And then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away. I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth. May I remind you that this court is unambiguous testimony. Now please continue. Yes, sir. Sorry, I know I keep just letting Chair commentate this stream, but you guys love Chair. He is a loyal compatriot to this stream. He's here every day. It's time to give him some spotlight. I just gotta really stretch my fucking legs out. They're so sore. I took a bunch of aspirin before the stream too, and they're still sore. But now I'm hoping stretching them out a bit will keep them, going.
Hold it!
Was it your husband who went to fetch help? No, I went. I may not be a police officer, but I am the proud wife of one. Isn't that right, darling? What? Yes, that's right. I asked Miss Beat to go. I was off duty by that point. But a Bobby's never truly off duty, of course. I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable. Preserving the scene of the crime is a task of considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box. Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box? Depends on a crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under, so she could go and report it. Oh, he fell asleep. I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from a bobby on duty. There is nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know. Thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of 2 model citizens. Oh, please, you're making us blush, isn't he, darling? Yes, sir, what Patricia said, sir. Doesn't even know. Let's move on, shall we? No. It was definitely the Japanese man on the dock. Oh, it wasn't. But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you? We absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional vision, right? The light from the street lamps was more than enough. My husband already told you the fog was only light, didn't he? Yes. And what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who live with it, of course. Oh, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm. Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband? The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was the little Japanese man. Can't we, darling? What? Ah, yes. It was the accused, and no mistake. The mustache, the hunched back, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, and the snub nose. As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Sozeki they saw running away from the scene of the crime. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony? What do you think? Well, I hate to admit it, but hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though the Mr. and Mrs. Beat saw what they really say they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day. Yeah, him running away has really fucked us. But I feel like he didn't really have much other choice. Yeah, I feel the same. If that's true, where does it leave us? The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony. What do we do? We need to look in the court record, because I actually don't really have a solid idea of what we're supposed to do right now. If Cosmo were here, what are you trying to say? I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere within the testimony. What do you mean somewhere else? Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate. Right. Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements. If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion. Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something? Of course, what is it? Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you. It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Isn't that right? Is it? Well, out with it. What? No, it's really not that at all. My husband's a policeman, remember, and I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything, like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? I could tell you the names of every single one, I could. Every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is? That will do, Miss Beat. No, it won't at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. If I decide to forgive him for insulting us, I don't think for a minute that Royally will. I didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband down. Perhaps you would like the appropriate supplement to your testimony? Might that appease you? Thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it? I could even tell you the name of the 4 books. Yeah, why'd she randomly add this? So I was right. There wasn't really anything to argue in the other ones. So I gotta argue this probably, and then present the names of the books, right? Alright, hang on. Well, obviously I gotta wait till she actually says the book names, but...
Alright. What are the names of the books?
Yes, we know that there were books dropped at the scene of the crime. You always skip to see Suzato's statement? Oh, I always press everybody and then see, like, the assistant statement. Even when I played the first Ace Attorney game, I pressed everyone and then waited for Maya's statement, like, after I had pressed everybody. Because it just seemed like I wanted all the information before I talked to, or I conferred with the assistant. Yes, we know there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. It was purchased by the accused at the nearby secondhand bookshop on the day in question. After I had been to the police box for help, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. I'm a proud policeman's wife, after all. I did it for role. What was your husband doing at the time? He was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-reserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard, don't you, my darling? Interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime. Well, even if he's asleep, no one's gonna walk right up to a crime and tamper with it with the police officer, like, literally right there. That would be quite aggressive.
Oh, Miss Pete.
Seeing as you've regaled the court with tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed? I'd be happy to. Are you listening? Picture of Monsieur somebody or other. What's its yearnings? Alright, so you're not doing so great so far. Oh shit. These are his books. What's it yearnings? And then there was a meal for someone, and the last one was definitely Thingummy something. Oh, there were not 4 books. Yes, I see there are 1 or 2 holes in your memory. Wait. I didn't mean to hit autoplay. They were quite along those lines, I'm sure. Now the photograph... 1, 2, also only has 3. So which should I put forth? The receipt? To counter her 4th book? Or should I put the picture forward? I've already used the receipt, so probably the picture. There were indeed books found at the scene with titles along those lines, as you put it. Well, what'd I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling? Oh, he's got a gun! Anyone who upsets my Patricia will have to answer to me, too. I mean, what? Terrifying. Yes, she really is. That's it? Their entire testimony? What do you think? I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though they saw what they saw. So on her implying... Yeah, I just gotta find which one in that last statement I need to contradict. How does he allow that gun? I don't know. Let's just try and present the photograph here. Well, I'm gonna save first, actually, because I'm not too confident in this. I know I gotta present the photograph on one of these statements, I just don't know which one. Let's just try this statement, but maybe I have to deep dive and then, like, rest to this specific statement. Oh, there we go, no. So you're saying there were 4 books. That's right. I remember all of them. The picture of Monsieur Somebody, What's It Yearnings, a meal for somebody, and the Thingamagummy something. I'm sorry, Miss Beat. But there is a fundamental flaw in the statement of yours. Oh? What flaw? Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4. What? Take a look at this photograph. The scene of the crime. Count them, 3. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books. That can't be. I saw them. I know what it is. You can't fool me. Sorry. It's that big old lump of a dead lady. The lady's so large, her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book. That's actually fair. Let's try and remember the poor woman isn't dead. I'm sorry. But Mr. Natsume couldn't possibly have dropped the 4 books you described. Why not? Fascinating. And from your assured tone, something you can really substantiate with evidence, I presume. I got you. Counsel, you will present evidence to substantiate your claim. I'm on it. What proof do you have? Oh, I got your proof right here. Stick it up yours. Van Sykes, the evidence is right here, in the form of this bookshop receipt. Woo! Drop it. Drop the hard bomb on him. Your books? This receipt details Natsume's purchases. As you can see, only 3 books are listed. No! Therefore, Mr. Natsume would have only dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime. Which means that your powers of observation, madame, cannot be relied upon. I mean, to be fair, she's close enough on what he picked. Though it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant, you could very well be mistaken. Oh no! Oh. Look at their patchwork clothes. Feel bad, the cops definitely must not get paid much here, huh? It's plainly evident that it's your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend. What? What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from the scene. Hey, Suemi. Suemi. Jesus, I'm so tired. So you've striven to avert attention from that by tiny dint of the facts. But would that be fair? Ugh, he sees right through me. But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife, and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect. What? You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection!
But then it's not him. But what about the photograph? It only shows 3. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. But don't you dare pull out a second print. Allow me to present another. One that shows the victim's hand. I don't believe it. As you can observe, the 4th book was hidden from view. Uh-oh. That book I noticed was quite burnt, perhaps stolen from, what's-his-face's house. There, you see? Look at that, look! Yes. It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling? Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir. Zoami, are you still here? How are you doing? Or Sumi. I should probably call you Sumi on stream. Because that's your username. Don't want to call you out your name. Autopsy report is outdated. Yeah, for real. Let's study the receipt of the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Miss Beat, the title once again, if you please. Of course. The picture of Monsieur somebody or other. Picture of Monsieur Lequoc. Okay, yes, somebody or other. What's it yearnings? Canterbury yearnings. A meal for someone. A meal for Gabarayu, in fact. And as the court just heard, the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Van Sykes, if this person was not advocating for your case, you would rip her apart for not knowing these book names. What? You fucking weasel. Miss Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional. God, I can't wait for the moment when you call her a dipshit. It's coming soon. I can hear it already. Did you hear that, Roll? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, sir. Flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless. But there are only 3 books on the receipt. And she mentioned 4. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly the 4th book is that which is shown in the print. I'm sorry, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? It's not odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim.
Victim was holding for her own book. Objection!
What became of that 4th book? Obviously, it was overlooked by the investigating officers of Scotland Yard. You said they don't overlook anything! What? You said their investigations are so thorough. You liar. I have it here as evidence. Bruh. You will submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please. My pleasure. My lord, shut up. The second crime scene photograph has been entered. The 4th book has been entered. Wait. He said it wasn't overlooked? Is that true? Did I misread? Not that that's impossible. It wasn't overlooked. Oh, okay. Reading's hard, especially when you're tired. I think I'm more sore than tired, though, not to keep complaining. It's just been a while since I've been sore. I haven't really, worked out in a while. I'm just not used to it. I'm off my game. Yesterday's stream I was too. I have nothing further to add. What? You seem surprised, my friend. But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The suspicious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I?
Everything we've said is true. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, Pat, marry me, Pat. So perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions. Wait a minute.
Why did you just say marry me, Pat? Aren't they already married? Didn't they just
Celebrate their 1-year anniversary? Did the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or the decision you have to make or is the decision you have to make all too apparent? Uh-oh. You've heard of all the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. The trial has run its course. I'm afraid we're in a terribly precarious position, I know, but if I fight back the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Think, what do we do? The game seems to always want me to, contest. I thought we would be making matters worse as well, but... Fuck it, raise an objection. That seems to always be the solution. Every time I thought, hey, we should sit and bide our time and wait, the game's been like, no. Objection!
Objection!
We're not done yet. No, my friend, it's over. The last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. That's not your right to call that. The die has been cast, and there's no more room for debate. It might be over as far as you're concerned, but... can't think of what to say. If I may, it seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point. Your insignificant little eastern isle must be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene in a moment like this. Lowly? How dare you talk about Susato like that? How dare you? I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you will forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable. There you go, Ryu. Backing Miss Susato up, my man. Mr. Ryu. One of the land's great guiding principles is tolerance, so the court will hear you, madame. Go ahead, Miss Susato, please. Very well. What insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further? Yeah, my girl! Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination was finished. I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants examination? Mr. Ryu, what do you think? No, go on! You got it, you're nailing it. Continue. Keep going. It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask why, you to explain the crucial piece of evidence and why. But we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible. I can see why people say Susato is a better assistant than Maya. Well, it also helps that Susato is kind of, like, always doing, like, actually what she says. But Maya always ends up, like, channeling somebody else to actually provide assistance. She's not actually providing assistance. She just channels someone who does. But Susato is actually giving the advice. Thank you, Miss Susato. This is it. She has managed to win us at least one last chance. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord. Very well. The defense may present one further piece. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case. Oh, I think I just solved the case, by the way, in my head. So she steals this book, The Lion's Pride, from the guy's house, right? On the way out, the guy stabs her because she's stealing his favorite book. It would be hard to stab someone with this flat, like this busted tip of the blade, wouldn't it? Look here, Ryu, just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing. You're right, well spotted. I wonder what could have happened. You don't think it could be still lodged in the victim, do you? Oh dear, I hope not. That sounds painful. Let me see, it's a book entitled The Lion's Pride. I'm afraid I don't know any English literature, so it wouldn't be something I've heard of. Wait a minute. The Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I've heard of a book by that name before, and recently. It's a title I recognize, too. I know who, what? Look at this. The book's been burnt. You would never be able to read it in this state, especially not the latter page. What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently. A book recently damaged by fire. Doesn't seem to raise a red flag. Fourth book's information has been updated in the court record. Alright, so how can I present them? Well, first I guess let's examine this photo, too. Actually, it doesn't look like I can present anything in this photograph. I just can zoom in on stuff, but I see the book's burnt in her hand.
Take that!
So my current running theory is that this lady, stole the book and he stabbed her in anger. Anyway, the fourth book found in the victim's hand is what we've currently overlooked.
Objection!
Objection! We've already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you know. I'm proud of wasting the court's time, how dare you! I'm afraid, counsel, I must concur with the prosecution. When I afforded you this opportunity, you've led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. Oh, Van Sykes is tight! He knows I'm about to blow this case wide open. Now he wants me to point out the clue. I got you. Yes, my lord. It's, Ryu. I believe the prosecution's trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence, which means they very well be on the right track. I think you might be right. You're damn right I'm right. Isn't that right, Chair? Tell him. Tell him. Precisely where is the vital clue? I'll tell you right now.
Got it!
The burn. I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question. Back? What do you... Goodness gracious! It's been burnt to a crisp. So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It's an undeniably extremely unnatural thing.
Objection!
It is indeed. Unnatural, you say? I carry burned books all the time! What say you, my Japanese friend? Were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there's nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert that this fire damage is some sort of veiled clue as to what happened? Pray, do enlighten us all, but what truth does this charred book hide? Oh, I got you. Charred book. There's just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Run it. Run your theory, Ryu. I'll explain my theory. Don't keep us waiting any longer, then. What are you suggesting that you can ascertain from the fire damage this sorry book suffered? It's owner, baby. Let's go. It's that dude who owns the house. Jam is the chair's stand. Chair Aggie. I'm excited to do the that new Danganronpa game coming out. That'll be exciting. Oh, still got some stretching to do. We can ascertain the owner. My lord. The burn on the back of the book reveals a startling truth. Oh, you guys know what I should get is one of those standing desks that I can like raise and lower for the stream. Oh, that'd be sweet. But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor. The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand is yet to be answered. However, as to the question of who the book really belongs to, where it originated, the defense has very credible answers. Oh, goodness gracious, how? Very well, I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. How much are those standing desks? Standing desk that raises and lowers. These expensive. Oh yeah, they're all like several $1,000s. What the fuck? Really? But do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry. I mean, aren't the members of the jury about to burn me anyway? Who cares? Counsel, the defense's response here is likely an attempt to delay... What? The defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of the trial. Who do you claim is the owner of this book? This dude.
Take that!
The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant had his lodgings. Oh. Is certain Mr. and Mrs. Gardebi the landlords? Is that the first damage sprite we've seen from him before? I mean, I know he always throws his wine bottles in anger or whatever, but that's the first time we've seen him be like, the truth! And whether this is some sort of extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Miss Gardebi herself. My goodness me! I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not the wife, I'm his maid. Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright, then how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book? I would never presume to know all of the books he keeps.
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused landlady, you say? You implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
Alright, first of all, calm the fuck down. Know your role. She's a monster. A beast, as she's been referred to before. So let's not get started with that. This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of the Gardebi's house. What sort of incident, counsel? A fire, my lord. Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Well, because apparently Van Sykes is the only prosecutor in this game, so I would say he just has, like, under the prosecution's desk is just a bunch of those bottles. He keeps them in an icebox. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. The worst of it is, I lost my favorite, a book called The Lion's Pride. Ooh. This is the first angry Van Sykes. He's JoJo posing. He's so mad. By Jove, the very same title is the subject of this debate.
Objection!
This is recissible.
All you've done is told the court that a book by the same name was involved in a fire. In which case, it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And if it's a hardcover, and entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself from the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the case of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Miss Garadeb, something, apparently she continued to attack Garadeb even after the flames went alive. How awful! I can't imagine being so horrid to the one you love, can you, Roy? Absolutely not. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir. Had all my favorite novels in that case. Then my wife started hurling things at me. There I was, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire. The man had his back up against the window and he was burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown through the window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
Yes. Now, a thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident. There's no report of the Gardeb's window pane being broken. That's quite true. We also saw no signs of broken glass when we visited the household. But is it not conceivable the window was open at the time? Not even remotely. Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would leave a window open in winter. But if their room was on fire, I bet you it was pretty hot in there. Does the defense postulate this scenario in all seriousness, counsel? Do you earnestly claim that the book found at the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by the wife? I believe it's a possibility, my lord. That's quite enough. Well, I hope everyone can see what you are now, you little foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. A mean coward. Really? Claiming that our little tiff set the whole neighborhood alight, honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance's sake, how could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you've done is sully the family name. No, I assure you that it was never my intention. You've already sullied your name. Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud simply to divert attention from your case. I should box your ears is what I should do. It's unforgivable. Too right. Here we go. How long have we sat here now listening to this Nipponese spouting out his fancy foreign theories? Think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with the mustache, and he ran away from the scene. Claire, you're right. It's true. What'd I tell ya? Makes sense to me. Huh? What's that? Well, it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What's your position, Lord Van Zykes? In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then, one must always exert patience in order to savor the best vintage. No, wait. The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... Oh, here we go. If books are your predilection, my learned friends, study them on your own time. Ooh, God, that's a pretty good one, too. That's the second good zinger of the thing. What, no forgive the discourtesy this time? It's weird. Van Sykes isn't doing us the same favors that we did him last trial of, like, we were pushing to find the truth. Like, hey, there's still this thing left unsolved. Let's pursue it, even though it makes the case harder for me. Van Sykes is like, my case is fucking done. See ya. Close the book on this, or close the book on this chapter. We're done. You will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Oh wait, these are all voiced. I can hear it in my fucking headphones. God damn it, why? Let me do another summation examination? Thank you for that unambiguous response. It's twice now. Don't give up. Have you forgotten? The battle isn't over. The defense has the right to another summation examination, is that true? You can still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have another chance. My lord, the defense asks to exercise its right to an examination. You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve. I've never understood why people, like, smell their wine. I've never just, like... Ah, yes. The water is fresh from the tap. Delicious. I don't know, I don't get it. I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. There's no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong. Yeah, we haven't even heard from Natsume this trial yet. To be continued. Let's see, do we wrap? Or do I keep going? Because I won't be able to finish the trial. I've only got like an hour left to stream. Do you want to hear from him? Not particularly. We'll do the summation examination and then we'll wrap. I like the summation examination quite a bit, so we'll do that. And we'll keep going for a bit. Kind of do want to end the stream a little earlier today, just because one, I'm tired, and then two, apparently the notification just like didn't go out for this stream, so I don't want people to fall like far behind on the series. Because for series like this, it's usually like people only watch if they're caught up or watch live. But I want to do the summation examination just because I enjoy this. I've considered the defense counsel's request for examination, and I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to the procedure. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second examination. I presume the jury is ready? We are, my lord. Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books? If there was some novel, alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit. Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in a teeny bit of trouble. Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes. You open up the window if you have the sneezes, don't you? Considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems. With one notable exception. My learned student friend was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it is indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. Moreover, no one else was even at the scene to commit the crime. The eyewitnesses are correct. It would seem as if the conclusion is set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way. Means during the examination, it's essentially you establish some other tangible explanation. How? What could even constitute a tangible explanation? Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman and how? Those two details are all you need to provide. Alright, he's offering a little bit of aid. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted. Here I was thinking it might be hard. Van Sykes? No, he hasn't front face of the court. Rio, you have to do it, otherwise this really be where the trial ends. No pressure. That's quite enough. Proceed with the examination, please. I presume you're prepared, counsel? Yes, my lord. Alright, Rio, focus your mind. Clearly, the key to the examination is going to be juror number 4, the maid. We have a book that disappeared from the house on the evening of the incident, and the 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the two. That's what we have to find. Using every technique I've learned in my short career so far. Don't forget to keep an eye on Miss Gareb, how she reacts, even to the other things people say. Ooh, now we're combining reactions to, summation examinations, I see, huh? We're putting together multiple elements of the story, huh?
Hold it!
There were 4 books left. But as we know, there were 4 books, not 3. Well, what difference does it make?
There's every possibility that the 4th book belongs to the defendant's landlord. Yes, that's the part I have a problem with. Sorry?
Well, at this point, the woman was stabbed. This landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something. See? It's not exactly how I put it, no. Well, anyway, the point is, the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened. I think that's what you call a strong alibi. So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nipponese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all this palaver's about. It's a done deal, isn't it? I suppose it is, since I've nothing witty left to say. I don't know if... isn't a wife, or like a significant other, I should say, sort of a biased witness? I don't know if that would be considered a strong alibi. If there was some novel alternative explanation of how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Knife. Thrown out the window. So you might be willing to change your decision. Such delight on your face, but I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I'm a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman. That's great. If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? But why read them in the first place? You see, modern. Wouldn't you say? Not at all extreme. As I see it, the overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite 1 or 2 minor puzzlements, I do declare that the man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly. But us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know? I'd be only too happy to consider a new and exciting theory if you could come up with one. I'd be happy to do that too, if only I could. Let's do our best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young lady. I'm glad you omitted the rational part.
it!
What about the possibility the window was open? What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been. How can you be so sure? The prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. But no, the window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, you see. But you couldn't categorically state the window wasn't open, could you? It just wasn't. They wouldn't have. I feel like jury number 6 is going to be how I can contradict him again. What's the point of even having windows, huh? Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering. Sorry. Somehow, I need to show there's an undeniable possibility the window was open. Because this young man isn't going to budge otherwise. I think number 6 will counter him again, so I'm going to skip right to 6.
Hold it!
Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in the case? Sorry? What? You'll have to speak up, lad. Could you tell us more about the fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake. It had 75 candles on the top. What a sight to behold. That's actually pretty old for back then. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Of course not. It was an angel cake. To celebrate my birthday. It seems that's a common custom here. Anyway, I mustered all of my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong. The flames didn't go out, but the candles went flying all over the room. The furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold, but how'd you catch a cold from the fire? What a fiasco. The grandchildren, blessed them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then because the whole room had filled up with smoke. We had to open all the windows to clear it. Boom! The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did. I caught a terrible cold and put me in the hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday. I knew it was devil worship. Something about the old man's story is playing in my mind for some reason. Pitting these two against each other again.
Objection!
The two juror statements clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly, counsel? Don't point at me again. I told you it wasn't me. What you say? Speak up, lad. Juror number 3, do you see? Me? See what? Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebration? It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his windows in the middle of winter. Yes, of course, because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, you'd be mad not to open the... Oh! He got it. Took him a minute. Exactly. On the day in question, at the time of the incident, there was a fire in the household. Mr. Gary Deb had the following to say. The whole place filled with smoke.
Oh my!
Oh my hat. Oh shit. Therefore, to clear the smoke, either Mr. Garrett Deb or his wife almost certainly opened the window. That you cannot deny. Would you like to add?
Excuse me!
Jury number 4, do you have something to say? Mr. Garrett Deb? Miss? Dear me. What's the meaning? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I am? It's imperative you confirm something for the court, so please, it's time to drop the pretense now. The fire started in your house that day. Your husband opened the window. I beg your pardon, what are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable you wouldn't open the window. And what if we did? Alright then, yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't have been easy, since I continued to give him a justly deserved book battering. Even though your house was on fire? You never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It would be terribly bad for the nerves. Okay. Of course, I should have realized. That's a significant step forward. You've managed to establish the window was open. We simply must have that added to the formal statement. Now that you mentioned it, the window was open at the time. I'd forgotten, but it's true. Look, I want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay, I'll be... Oh, wait. What did that do again? Let's put these.
Deduction.
Those two statements contradict each other. I'm sorry, but as a foreman of the jury, I have to object. That's nonsense. What? There's no contradiction. What? I'm assuming it wants me to go back and, yeah. So he says, the windows could have been opened. A possibility. She confirms it. Whatever.
Objection. Hold it.
Did his thing change? Wait, what? Her statement's different, yeah. I don't know. Alright, we'll expand on what this guy has to say. I'm not sure why those aren't working as contradictions.
Hold it.
You just want to get this over with? Why don't you sit there and say something? A man's future's at stake. Well, him and me both, what? I told you already, I'm a day laborer, aren't I? Better bring home some readies with me tonight. You'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning. Oh, you've got some debts. Debts, huh? You heard me. My missus isn't one to mess about. She can be fierce, believe you me. Another shining example of marital bliss, then. Situation cropped up like this the other day. It was, well... You know, it's funny because I can't quite remember. Sorry. Too frightening, that's the thing. I must have blocked it out. Helpful. I wonder if Miss Beat will ever be dragged into the Thames by his scarf. Or Mr. Don't even go there. There must be some way in jogging his memory about this. Alright, tell me a bit more about this then, old man.
Hold it!
Did you change your statement from before? Yes, it was one of my most memorable birthdays, you see. I couldn't let it go unremembered. I'm sure the defendant will be delighted that you're using his trial to explore your past. How is that memory related to the case? Sorry, what's that? Now just speak up, I'm afraid. Never mind. He's as deaf as a post when he wants to be. But actually, this old man's antidote might just provide the alternative explanation I need to make my point to some of the others. We used unlit candles this year. It was safer that way. The window was open when they were arguing. Yes, they finally admitted to it. Very significant victory for the defense. I feel like the fog's starting to clear, and an alternative explanation to the case is starting to show itself. I hate when I try to like skip some steps and present something before the game like wants me to present it, and when I figured out kind of like the gist of it already. Alright, what's his new statement now?
Hold it!
No, I didn't mean to press. God damn it. I'm going to do the other thing. Hit. Yes, 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 I know. Alright, the accused left behind evidence. The window was open at the time. Apparently this doesn't contradict. The window could have been opened. Winter house fires are dire. You have to open the windows.
Objection!
Oh, it works this time? What the fuck? I literally did this last time before I pressed him. Now it's fine? The statements contradict each other, of course. We already know that. No, apparently not. Alright, wait. I guess I've lost track of what I'm contradicting here. What the fuck? That worked before, now I'm confirming. He wants to know, well, like, if there's a possibility that the windows could open. I'm telling you.
Objection! Hold it!
Bruh, what? I already pressed this guy, and he just says he'll be in trouble. She wants to know about the stabbing, but I assume I gotta get somewhere else first.
Objection! Hold it!
Alright. I'm actually just gonna call it here. I think I'll have to start fresh. I might do maybe a short extra stream on Thursday. I don't normally stream on Thursday, but I might just do an extra one on Thursday to try and get this because this is kind of frustrating me. And I'm ready to wrap too. It's about 3.5 hours, about the usual stream length time. So, yeah, I think we'll wrap here. That's technically, we were at a good end point at the end of a part of the trial. We'll come back and finish out the trial. Appreciate you guys watching today. Sorry, but I guess we're technically ending on a cliffhanger. Part 2 and 3 remain of the trial. So be sure to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on when we will continue the trial. Thanks for watching, you guys, today. Appreciate those of you who show up even when the notifications for the stream don't go out, because thanks, YouTube. Really appreciate that. Drop a like on the video, too, if you can. I always appreciate those likes. Helps out the stream, helps out the algorithm, and all that good stuff. Be sure to join the Discord. Link in the description below if you want to keep chatting with people even after the stream is over. A little less people using the Discord lately, which means it's easier to just kind of talk with people because it's a bit more of a tight-knit group. So, feel free to join that. Link in the description. And the usual, subscribe, hit the bell button, and like, and join the Discord. All that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next stream. I'll probably post in the Discord if I'm going to end up doing that bonus stream on Thursday just to wrap up this trial. We'll see. I'll keep you posted. Stay tuned. Turn on those notifications for Discord to see the messages. And until then, have a good night, everyone. I'll see you around.